Hello, everyone. Today I'm here to present to you, or I'm here to cure you guys of your fear from the coronavirus. In history, there have been many disease outbreaks, such as the bubonic plague in Marseille, France in 1720, the cholera outbreak in 1820, that was then followed by the Spanish flu in 1920. January of 2020, there was the first signs of the novel coronavirus, also known as the Wuhan coronavirus. As it has spread throughout the course of time, it has not only been infecting people with illness, but also with fear. So I am here to ask you guys the question, are you guys using the most effective methods to prevent this disease? I have done research on the websites of the FDA, the World Health Organization, and the CDC. And I am going to clear up some misconceptions about the disease, as well as provide you with facts and evidence, as well as tips to help protect you guys from becoming infected with this dangerous disease. I will go over some, I'll go over some main points about this disease, such as where it originated, how much it has spread, important facts to prevent this disease, how you can prevent contracting this disease, and what officials are doing to stop the spread and the death all around the globe. The first step in our journey of sanitization is the place of origin, Wuhan, China. It is hard to exactly pinpoint where the disease first came up, but this is the most accurate where scientists have narrowed down the start of the disease. Despite it originating in China, Asia is actually not the most affected by this disease. Europe was hit the hardest with 31 infected countries. And then it's followed by the Western Pacific area and the Eastern Mediterranean area with a total of 12 infected countries. And in our local America area, including Central, South, and North America, there are a total of 8 countries infected. At the lowest, countries infected are Africa and Southwest Asia, with only 4 for each of their respective regions. And I'm sure many of you have heard that it has reached our local community with the Panera outbreak and the most recent Walmart outbreak out by Big Lake. Although it was a very low exposure, it continues to spread, and the number of cases are increasing rapidly. As I evolve into the next point, I will go in depth about this coronavirus and provide facts to educate you more about the coronavirus and what it can do. First of all, there are around 7 different types of coronavirus, not a single one. The first 2 are alpha coronaviruses by the names of 22.9E and NL63, followed by 2 beta coronaviruses by the names of OC43 and HKU1. The remaining 2 are similar to the recent coronavirus. SARS and MERS They are acronyms for severe acute respiratory system syndrome, which is SARS, and MERS stands for Middle East Respiratory Syndrome. The characteristics that all these have in common are that they originated by infecting animals, not humans. They started out as diseases that infected mainly animals, but then mutate to begin in infecting humans. Scientists hypothesized that snakes were the original source of the coronavirus, but then they turned to bats. Bats are notorious for spreading any type of disease. As you could probably tell from the name that MERS and SARS stand for, it affects the region of the respiratory system. As a result of this, you may end up with symptoms such as a cough or shortness of breath. And an additional symptom of this is a fever. And these traits are very common with a flu, which makes it that much more difficult to pinpoint who exactly has a coronavirus. The people most affected by this disease are not us, thankfully, but they still cause high death rates between older people around like above the ages of 50 and younger people who still haven't developed their immune systems. The mortality rate is actually very low at a 3%, but you shouldn't get overconfident with this low percentage as it has been increasing slowly, but yet it's still a dangerous and very infectious disease. While things may seem bleak, as the media often makes it seem, there's only a 3%, many have recovered from this disease. And once again, you should not throw caution to the wind. I also forgot to mention, could I just start over?
Oh, shoot, yes. You can, are you sure?
Yeah.
I just want to stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah, I kind of fell apart.
Okay, you gotta let her, okay, will you let her in here?
Am I going? Oh. Okay. So, like I said, we aren't affected. People who are young or relatively young and below the age of 50 are not likely or not susceptible to death by this disease. And as you continue to get younger in age, more people, there is less of a chance that they will get infected. Those who are extremely susceptible to death are the elderly and the extremely young, practically infants. There's only a 3% mortality, but that number keeps climbing. And people like these are the majority of the demographic, and that's not including people with pre-existing conditions who are also extremely affected. People who can be affected by pre-existing conditions could be people who are suffering from diabetes or cancer or even any type of cardiovascular disease. While many have recovered, that is no reason to throw caution to the wind and not worry about contracting the disease. Because while you may not be greatly affected, those around you will be affected more than you could ever imagine. As while you carry that disease, more and more people become infected. So, how can you protect yourself from this disease? What are some good methods to keep yourself healthy? While hand sanitizer is a good and effective way of keeping the disease at bay, washing your hands is always and should be your number one defense against the coronavirus. Also, a common misconception about health is the use of of a medical mask. And while it may seem to protect you from a lot of things, it will not protect you from contracting the virus. The main thing that a mask would do is protect others from yourself, should you already be sick. Another thing that you could do is to pretty much kind of be antisocial. You got to stay away from all the people who could or do have any kind of illness. So, unfortunately, we won't be able to enjoy this beautiful spring weather with our friends. The last bit of advice that I can give you is to practically also become a clean freak. To sanitize everything you touch before and after, and be sure to maintain a good body hygiene. Moving on to the final stage, what are our governments and health officials doing to protect us from the disease and eventually eradicate it? Most recently, the President of the United States has declared no travel for 26 countries in the European area. And I'm sure many of you have also taken notice of all the events being canceled, locally and internationally, such as the 2020 Tokyo Olympics there has been much debate that whether they should take place, as well as many events locally, such as state speech or even concerts and possibly even school. Some schools that are being canceled are even universities. Personally, I received an email from the University of Iowa saying that my scheduled visit should be canceled due to this coronavirus. And many schools are shutting down, and universities such as Iowa are beginning their online classes in order to prevent the spread. Italy has gone into lockdown, the entire country. Everyone must stay indoors unless it is for a work reason or an emergency. Many people, or the government and health officials, such as the World Health Organization and the CDC, recommend that should you be sick with even the slightest flu symptoms, you should stay in self-quarantine. Don't go outside and don't have any contact with anyone. Now I'm going to answer one of the questions that goes through the mind of many. When will there be a cure? if at all. Professionals in the medical field have estimated that a cure will not be available for the coronavirus in at least a year. And while that sounds very scary, there could be a possibility that a cure could be developed in less than a year. Canada has already begun preparation for their testing phase on humans for a cure. Now, before I go wash my hands after this presentation, I'm going to go over a small recap of what you should be doing and what others are doing to stop the disease. I went over where it originated and where it has spread. I have also gone over some important facts that you should keep in mind in order to be more aware of what the disease is capable of, how you can prevent the spread of the disease in your community and across the world, as well as what your health officials and government is doing to keep their countries and the world safe. This virus has become a pandemic and has been characterized by the World Health Organization. All of these things I wholeheartedly recommend that you practice and make a habit in your everyday life. Please do not be spreading any misconceptions about this disease. And most importantly, stay safe out there.